Hello guys, this is Gideon's Tech in 20 minutes. Welcome back to our news. In Kenya, the High Court has declined the request for general election 2027 to be postponed. There was a petition that was taken to High Court by one Mwanzia who was saying that he needs the election to be suspended so that the amendment of the constitution can be hurried. He cited that Kenya needs an opposition figure that is recognized by the constitution and given the mandate to look over or to oversight the cabinet. He said that without these amendments, such positions that were to be created through BBI could not be imposed, and they looked like a good thing. But then the High Court said that they cannot issue this directive because it is like they will be overstepping their mandate according to the constitution. Or the constitution provides for specific steps on how to amend the constitution. So what do you take of this? For me, I would think that postponing 2027 elections like denying Kenyans their chance to do their constitutional mandate, that is voting for someone that they want. According to me, there is no need of postponing 2027 elections, and yet we have a parliament that is given that mandate to overlook the cabinet. And also, there's no need of us having an opposition that is recognized by the constitution for it to overlook the cabinet, because we do that, we love just to get rid of the parliament, because it is the mandate of the parliament to look at what the cabinet is doing, either criticize it or even help the cabinet to achieve it means, or to achieve its policies and laws. So if the parliament is not doing its job, the first thing that we should do as Kenyans is to get rid of the parliament, not to cook or create other positions so that can do the same work that is mandated. This is like when the president or just someone in power creates new bodies to do the jobs that are given to other bodies. Does not make sense. It's like, for instance, when the hate speech that is propagated by Duale, they are saying that Gachagua does the same, Kindiki and everyone else, and Kina Murkomen, who have been cited to have led or just made hate speech. If you create a new body to look into those cases, you're undermining other bodies or constitutional bodies like NCIC. So I don't see the need for us as Kenyans to go and create another body that is the opposition office that is going to overlook the cabinet, and yet we have the parliament which is mandated that job. The job the parliament is to look at what the cabinet is doing, and if the cabinet is not performing well, they can call them off and tell them this is not right. And if the president does not listen to the parliament has the mandate and the power, or the power is given to them for them to impeach the president. For them to impeach the president. So I don't see the need of us postponing 2027 general elections. I also don't see the need for a country like Kenya having a formal opposition, because opposition should come naturally, whereby the number two, or someone who loses election to the president-elect becomes opposition, or they just become the people who are going to be overlooking the government because they have the numbers and they can control what the narrative of the cabinet is saying. In other news, Batuk has resume its operation in Kenya after they have been given all the licenses they need to operate. This is another gimmick that is going on after the end of their operation or the license. Their license was not renewed, citing some of the things that the government of Kenya was citing, and saying that if the people stay in the Batuk, that is in the Batuk in Laikipia, if they make mistakes or if they break the law in Kenya, they should be judged in Kenya, not to be taken to Britain for them to be judged. So after they agreed on that, they continue to agree on that, Kenya now decided to extend their license. So this one gives a relief to the people of Laikipia, because as Gachagua was saying, if Batuk was to be ceased, or if it was to cease from operating today, many people, the economy of Laikipia and Nanyuki would be affected a lot, because there are many businesses that are running because of the operationalization of the Batuk and the things that they undertake there. In other news, there is the one Dr. Victoria Mutiso who was shot in Upper Hill. That is on Wednesday. She was shot and by the people on a motorbike and they escaped. However, the DCI has started the probe onto the case and they have already caught up with 2 suspects. So of course they are not telling us exactly what was happening, but as things go and unfold, we are going to be giving you those news in details and also explaining whatever is happening and why the shots were fired and for what reason and what was being prevented or what conspired. Say that it can be an array of so many things. Can either be from love triangle, can be just things to do with money, and also be a lot of cases whereby maybe Victoria knew a lot of things that we did not know, and maybe she could have gotten them out and they could have affected some big people in the government or in the businesses. Businesses are extremely delicate, and mafias come from businesses as much as they come from politics. So Victoria was a mental health researcher and a British institute, and through her efforts she was cornered by these 2 motorbike syndicates and she was taken out. So in other news, the budget chiefs, that is the control of the budget, they are saying that it is difficult to make a budget in Kenya because in every 100 shillings that we collect through the tax, 70 shillings is going to the tax. That means that we are being taxed, we are paying our debt, so we are borrowed to a tune of 70% of our income, and that constrains our budget. So anytime we say that we want to do development, we'll have to be borrowing, and that means that to do the development in Kenya, you either have to sacrifice so many other things or you have to borrow for us to do development. And it is wrong because most of the Kenyans are saying that we should not borrow, but when you look at the reality of the books of accounts in Kenya, it means that we cannot survive without borrowing, and that is putting Kenya to jeopardy, or it is just jeopardizing our economy by making us to remain under the mercies and or under the hands of those who are giving us the money. What does this mean? This means it doesn't matter who is leading Kenya or who is going to take even over after the current president, even after 2027. Whoever takes that position, he will either be mandated to borrow or cut on so many things, and Kenya will stop developing or even maintaining whatever the infrastructure they have. They also be mandated to cut on some recurrent budgets, and also to stop either hiring civil service or even lay off all the civil service at all, because this means that for us to first to repay all the debts with the current amount of money that we collect, let us even assume that we collect around 3 trillion per year. That means that we are going to be repaying our debt for more than 4 years without even using a single cent from what we collect. That makes no sense at all, because even the money that we collect, once we collect it, when we pay our recurrent expenses, which amounts to around 1 trillion, that is more than 25% of what, not even 25, more than 30% of what we collect. That means that we have a long way to go for us to fill in the gap that is left by after paying the debt. So let us hope that things get better. Another news, that health workers have laid their tools since July 20th, and this has gone on for a week plus, and now the nurses have joined the rig, citing that the CBA was not honored, and they are saying that unless now the CBA is honored, they are not going back to the jobs. So this is just an appeal to those who are seeking medical assistance in the public hospitals, so that you can know that things are not well there. So then when you go there, you should have patience, because the few people that you meet there, maybe they are just the one who feel like they should serve the people, and under their good hearts, they have dedicated their time besides being paid with a lot of mediocrity. The CBA was signed giving them some time to come back to jobs as they negotiate, but they are saying that it was it was not honored, and that pushed them now to down their tools and join the Goslow so that they can make the government and the people they are agreeing with to honor the agreement and give them what they need. That is, of course, an increase in salary so that they can maintain a better life. In other news, in Kiambu, Juja, a presidential escort officer was found dead in his residential. It is said that this presidential escort unit president was shot once, and beside him was a letter that was indicating whatever he needed or whatever his demands were after his death, citing what will happen when he's gone and everything. So the homicide police were there together with the presidential escort unit assistant chief, and they are saying that they are going to be following on whatever he said, although the contents of the letter were not given, and the name of the officer was identified as Dennis Kibekeriot. And now we are also following to see if anything comes out of it. You're going to be sharing with you to show what triggered him to do whatever he did, and if there was anything that could have done, or if it is. I know most of the time we can think that the police officers have it smooth, but most of the time they go through a lot, and by that it makes them to do some things that are unthinkable. So every time you meet with someone that you do not know, please give them some time, or even just ample time. Just understand them, try to reason with them, because these people, they really need to be reasoned with. And also for the civil service, either you meet with people in Huduma Center, you meet with people in the hospitals, you meet with people everywhere where they are employed by the government or employed by other people. Just make sure these people, you reason with them, because you do not know exactly what is going in their mind. They might be going through a lot, and anytime that you do not know people clearly, people hide a lot behind a simple smile. That does not mean that these people are okay. Just means that they are accommodating, and that does not give you a moment, or does not give even a chance to intimidate them. Just tells you that as much as they are accommodating you, you also have the mandate to accommodate them. So please, when you meet anyone, be polite, be humble, and also be receptive, and be an understanding human. Be a human being besides everything. In Nyandarua, the governor of Nyandarua, Kiaria Badilisha, has joined DCP officially, migrating from UDA. So you can see that the migration by the people of Mount Kenya from UDA to DCP is intensifying after Kangata. Now it is Kiaria of Nyandarua. We heard Gachagua saying that Kimani Wamatangi of Kiambu might not have migrated to DCP yet, because he has been threatened. Once he goes to DCP, he's going to be looked into his cases, and also that can take him into courts. And now when those chaos starts, you will never see peace. We saw him being his business being run down. That is, he was told that he was building in the land, a land that was secured or was kept for railway corporation. And with that, you can see that if he migrates into DCP at any time, he can be in hot soup. However, Gachagua told him that he should not fear them, because he has been threatened for arrest or with an arrest warrant for a very long time, and they have never come for him. But Wamatangi, who is actively serving an office under UDA, when he migrates from UDA, this is a threat to the current government, and they can look for anything to intimidate him and make his life difficult, so that he will not see the light of tomorrow. While Kiaria was migrating, he migrated with more than 25 MCAs from Nyandarua, and this shows you that Mount Kenya is shifting rapidly from UDA to DCP, which is the DCP is commanding Mount Kenya. So we can comfortably now say that Gachagua is now the kingpin of Mount Kenya, and that anyone who stands against Gachagua is doomed to fail when it comes to 2027 elections. So as much as Gachagua is consolidating his power, we are telling the people of Mount Kenya, besides now voting just to avenge or just to punish Ruto, make sure you vote for someone who is reasonable, who can make development in Mount Kenya. We appreciate that Mount Kenya has been led by reasonable people who have brought development into the counties of the region, and that is very, very much applaudable, or we can applaud that. We can applaud you for that. So we pray and request you that you may continue electing better people so that they can lead you better. So let us see how everything unfolds. We are looking to see how many Mount Kenya regions are going to migrate into Gachagua. Although so many other people in the Mount Kenya East who have been given jobs in the government are advocating for Mount Kenya to be divided into two, but I'm extremely against that. My take is that a region should not be divided simply because of people who just need political self-service, because these people are very selfish and they are not looking for the development of the region, because leaders are not just chosen to serve themselves, they are chosen to serve the people. So it doesn't matter which political vehicle you're using, as much as you're going to serve the people, please go ahead and serve them. In other news, Juneta Jalango agreed that for them to impeach Gachagua, a lot of money was given, and that was also backed by Bwana Dan Manzo, who said that money exchanged hands so that these people can impeach Gachagua. You know that when Gachagua was being taken out of the office, there were a lot of things that were going on, and it means that many people might have not been into it, but while the money exchanged hands, these people are just forced, or at some point they are convinced to do anything unthinkable. So this is an opportunity for Gachagua to go to the Court of Appeal and appeal, saying that his impeachment was not legitimate. He was not impeached just because of the things that were said. He was impeached because money exchanged hands, and as much as money exchanged hands in that moment, it means that this was not right. That was outright corruption, and it should be also investigated, because whoever gave the money and how it was given, that one should be the question of the day, and it should give Gachagua some reprieve. If he follows that correctly, I know he's going to get some kind of reprieve, and he's going to be listen to whatever he's going to say in the Court of Appeal. This gives him a lot of points in the Court of Appeal. As we know, he's going to be appealing next year, and he might also be given a chance to vie for the president. Who knows? In other news, they announced that there was some around 40 elephants that were killed in June. When you look at that, they are saying that some were in Makueni, others were in Amboseli National Park. So they are saying that there were human wildlife conflicts which led to some being killed, but they are saying now 15 that have been investigated. They are showing that there were residues of cyanide poisoning, so that they are saying that since there is tomato farms around Amboseli National Park, those tomato farms are spraying a lot of chemicals. These chemicals are sweeping into the rivers where these elephants take water. So after they take this water, they are poisoned by cyanide, and this caused their death. So that now brings us to ask our question: if a big animal like an elephant can take this amount of pesticide, or this pesticides, it can accommodate a lot more pesticide than the human can, because just for the simply matter of its body mass. So if they are being killed by the chemicals that are used to grow our tomatoes, and we are eating these tomatoes every day, how much chemicals or pesticides do you have in our bodies? To our farmers, we are appealing, please stop using these poisonous chemicals just to make your growth or your farming easy and make you quick returns, because even as much as you're getting these quick returns, they are not going to help a lot when you are treating a lot of people in the cancer centers, and we are losing a lot of people in the country, because these are your customers that you are killing. Please preserve your customers. As someone who advocates for clean farming, and someone who has been in farming for some time and now running an advocacy for clean farming, I can say that any farmer who wants to harm their customers, or who want to harm people consume whatever they produce, is not a good person, and they should be investigated closely for that. So We should look into that, and also those are farming the vicinity of wildlife or even anywhere. I think they should be denied permission to use these pesticides because they are dangerous, and also if these pesticides are also known, they should be abolished in our country, because we cannot keep on taking pesticides in the name of tomatoes, onions, and vegetables. In other news, in Baringo, a man impregnates his young girl, that is daughter, and runs. Police has been pursuing him. This is something that is disturbing. I don't know whether I have a take on this, because this is too inhumane for me to even to take on it. How can you even, besides anything else, impregnate your own daughter? It seems that this man is mentally disturbed, and he does not deserve to be among humans. He should be punished with the highest order of punishment that can never happen. Yesterday night, we saw that Kenya Power had a huge power outage that affected the whole of Nairobi, Mount Kenya, Mombasa. That's the biggest cities and regions in Kenya. Although they have not given a lot of the details on what happened, we are still following to see what happened. People are complaining that after that outage, they are trying to buy tokens and they are not going. So we are also following and requesting for an explanation from Kenya Power to know what really transpired for that outage, what happened in it, and how they can avoid such occurrences in the future. Sometime back, when Uhuru was the president, they said that a mast fell, and that affected the outage, because these masts carry a lot of power which is applied around across the country, and once one falls, it triggers a ripple effect across the country, making it difficult for people to get the power supply. That's why even Uhuru Kenyatta stopped or criminalized selling of scrap metals, unless now you can trace it back to where it is coming from. So let us see how the Kenya Power and the people in the power in our government are going to respond to that. Lastly, President Ruto has said that he's going to be addressing Kenya at 7 p.m. We are waiting to hear what he's going to say. Whatever he says, we are going to bring it to you first-hand, quick, and our take will always be there. Otherwise, see you in the evening. And this is Gideon's Take in 20 minutes. Thank you.